RDTDaily.com presents a Tarabuster with comedian Tara Devlin.
What the hell is going on, guys? This is Tara Devlin. Thanks for hanging out. Where you been? Where you been, guys? Yeah, whatever. What was I going to say? I was going to do a show yesterday, but my brain wouldn't cooperate. I started getting a migraine, and this is what I've had migraine since I'm like 11 years old, and it's kind of sucks, but oh well, I couldn't help it. And so we're gonna have one of our special guest stars tonight, Mark C from aradicalU.com. He's going to join us in a little bit to show us how to survive the last days of the American Republic. And when we're on the chat, anybody on the chat, please let me know how everything sounds, and that'll be good. All right, and we already have a nice chat room filling up. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Richard W. already right out of the gate. Super chat. That will keep the show going and growing. Not just that super chat, but many others. And if you can become a patron, please do at patreon.com/TaraDevil. And thank you, Jim, of course, for your super chat. Because, this shit ain't free, man. I mean, even the call-in studio, it costs money. So, all right. And the eCam, that costs money. So, all right. This is a community show. And I hate to say that, thank you, Jim. See? And we need our producers. The producer's sleeping behind me over there. So, everybody be quiet. Hopefully he won't wake up and start being bossy like he is. So, I know he's adorable when he's sleeping. He's also adorable when he's awake, but sometimes he's a pain in the ass, too, when he's stepping on the keyboard. So Mark C from A Radical U is going to... Oh, very good. He's going to call in soon. I will call him on Skype, and hopefully it'll all work out, and I'll... if not, we have the phones as a backup. And thank you, Haiku. Levels are good, sounds full, with no distortion or clipping. So, meaning it's not a usual day here at Tarabuster Studios. All right, there's so much to talk about. But if you can, like I said, become a patron, patreon.com/TaraDevlin. Also, give the show a good review on iTunes. That helps keep the show going and growing. And remember that we also have a Discord page. The link is in the description, so you can hang out in between shows. You can, talk to each other, talk to me. And this is a way, this is a community, I feel, because how else are we going to get through this? It's not easy, but on some level I do feel, maybe I'm speaking too soon, but I do feel somewhat of the tide is turning in a way, as far as Democrats becoming more unapologetic, and that's what has to happen. So maybe the old guard will take notice, but I doubt it. People like Dianne Feinstein or Feinstein, however you want to call it, she's old. Nothing again. I'm old too. So it's just that, come on, lady. Please, really? Go take a rest. When your staff is saying that you need to rest your brain a little bit, just go take a rest, lady. Let somebody else. Let a younger person mentor somebody younger in that position, right? Don't you think? At this point, it's not like you're a Bernie. You know what I mean? And the way I feel is that these people like the old corporatists have been, sucking on the government teat a little bit too long. They've been sticking around well past their sell-by date, and they're not helping. You know, it's time for the new blood, the ones who understand that, government should not be an appendage of the affairs of billionaires, and that money in politics really is the root of all evil. Oh, well. Okay. Yes. What? All right, guys. Let me see. What else? I'm looking at the chat. A migraine is a terrible type of headache. Yes, it is. I've had them. I mean, I could tell you a whole story. Many stories. I've had them since I'm 11. The first time I had a migraine, I didn't know what the hell was happening. In fact, those who have migraines don't. I mean, it's when people say, "Oh, I got a migraine," I'm like, "No, you don't," because it's different. It's not just a bad headache. For me, I get spots in front of my eyes, and actually the blind spots in my eyes get really big. And this is the first symptom of my migraine is that I start seeing everything in half. It's the most bizarre thing. It's hard to explain unless you've experienced them. And that's how it happened when I was a kid. I was at my cousin's, my aunt's and uncle's house, and my sister and my cousins were sitting around, and I was saying to my sister, I only see half of you. And then they were saying they thought I was kidding around. They were like, get out of here. And then I started vomiting. And then I was so sick, and my aunt had to put me in her bed, and that's how I spent the rest of the party. Next time it happened again, and then my father, they took me to a neurologist who explained that I wasn't dying. I had migraines. And so I've had them ever since I was a little socialist lesbian. So, all right. So I know when they're coming, and it sucks. So, let's not talk about it. Let's move on. All right. Yeah, they start with the same way, the optical effect. Winston on the chat says, my brother-in-law and wife get them too. They say they start the same way. Yep. It happened. It's happened to me when I'm driving, too. One time it happened. I was driving, and all of a sudden I was like, fuck. Oh, excuse me. I'm not supposed to curse. Rewind. I was like, oh my God, I only see half of this highway. This sucks. All right. Listen up. What are we going to talk about? So there's a lot of things. And like I was saying, well, first of all, Mark, we're going to call Mark in about a half an hour. And he's going to talk us all off the ledge. So that's what you have to do. Mind, body, and spirit. Right? So, okay. There's many and the reason I'm stumbling over my own words is because in my mind I'm thinking, where do I begin? So a couple of things. All right. Republicans. We can always start there. The gall. Here's the other thing. We talk about corporate media too. So this kind of fits into that as well. What I'm noticing, I don't know if you've noticed, but the corporate media today in general, in the past couple of days, since that unqualified basic bitch so-called judge ruled that there are no mask men, that she knows better than the CDC. The corporate media, for some reason, seems to forget that that she's unqualified. That this unqualified flunky. That's the story. It's not that of course it is that she also overturned the ruling of the scientists and health professionals in the public interest, who operate in the public interest, not to please a tax cheating, draft dodging, dictator entering con man with a fake university and a vitamin scam. She's overturning. She overturns this mask mandate for the entire country. You could just do that? I'm not a lawyer or a judge, clearly, but I don't understand how one unqualified basic bitch can do that. She can write in her ruling that this extends to the entire country. Who asked you, you Florida flunky? That's what I want to start out talking about, I guess, first. Because, come on, a couple of things. On the corporate media, they're reporting about the overturning of the mask mandate and how right in the middle of a flight, the pilots, they played a clip of a pilot coming out and saying, "Oh, the mask mandate is no more. Whatever the hell, it's optional now." And all the idiots, wee, yay! It's about time. Honestly, I have to tell you guys, good. You know what? I do feel sorry for the people on the front lines. Of course I do. But, go away, Trump supporters, Trump counties. You're all dropping dead. Maybe you're doing us a favor. Really, Matt, that's why we need Mark C in here, because he's probably kinder than I am. Not probably, I'm sure he is. But are you kidding me? First of all, this dumb bitch. I know I'm not supposed to curse, but is bitch a curse? She's a basic bitch. She's basic. She's basic. I have more of a education than she does, as far, according to her resume. So I'm not a basic bitch. I'm not trying to be a judge who's going to dictate what mask mandates. My mind is all over the place. Probably because my migraine made me. I should have been on the air last night. Let's put it that way. But one of the first things. Okay, let me just get my thoughts in. All right. Okay. Why does the corporate media enable these fascists, these unfit, unqualified fascists, by not reporting incessantly? When they report that this judge overturned the mask mandate, accompanying that report should be, she is unfit and unqualified, and was shoved on to the court by an unfit, unqualified, vote-getting con man. Okay? Because that's the truth. Why? They don't want to be political? She is political. She is a political appointee who has no business being on the court, like some of the other Trump appointees. They don't care about this country. They hate this country. That's why they put unqualified basic bitches and white privileged little whiners. That judge that we play the clip of all the time, the judge who is crying about, because people who worked with him told the truth about him, that he's a racist, and he's a homophobe, he's a racist, and then of course because he couldn't answer the question, he started to cry. I didn't say that. Okay, so here's from the American Bar Association. The nomination in regard to the nomination of Catherine Kimball Mizell to the United States District Court for the Middle District of Florida. What? Okay, first of all, why doesn't another judge come out and say, I, ooga booga booga, overturn and overrule the District Court of Florida? You know what I mean? Of all places, Florida. Okay. I don't understand how this judge, maybe somebody on the chat who knows more about the law, can explain to me why and how this dumb bitch, not me, Mizell, gets to overturn a CDC ruling and make it apply to the entire nation. I don't get it. Okay. Where'd it go? Here's what the American Bar Association said. Dear Chairman Graham and Ranking Member Feinstein. This was back in 2020. The ABA Standing Committee on the Federal Judiciary has reviewed a full report evaluating the professional qualifications of Catherine Kimball Mizell to serve as a district court judge for the United States District Court for the Middle District of Florida, and supplemental report by a second reviewer. Fake news. In conducting its evaluation of this and every nominee, the Standing Committee focuses strictly on professional qualifications, semicolon, integrity, professional competence, and judicial temperament. Yeah, like the guy who cried. I didn't say that. Yeah, right. He was unqualified too, and they put him on there. A substantial majority of the Standing Committee has determined that Ms. Mizell is not qualified, and a minority of the Standing Committee is of the opinion that she is qualified to serve on the United States District Court. Our rating is based on the Standing Committee's criteria as set forth in the backgrounder. The backgrounder provides that a nominee to the federal bench ordinarily should have at least 12 years experience in the practice of law. The backgrounder further provides that in evaluating the professional qualifications of a nominee, the Standing Committee recognizes that substantial courtroom and trial experience as a lawyer or trial judge is important. You know, you think you have some kind of, experience to sit in a lifetime position. She's got basically nothing. That's why she's a basic bitch and has no integrity, as well as being a fascist flunky. That's for sure. And because, make no mistake, let's not forget that it takes two to tango. When a tax cheating, draft dodging, dictator envying con man calls you up and says, hey, would you like to be involved in my latest grift, destroying the Democratic Republic that so many patriots, not you or me, fought a revolution to create and entrust to to their descendants. You don't have to participate. You don't have to say, yeah, count me in to the scam, to the grift, right? That's why every single unqualified scum who participated in Moscow Mitch's destruction of, as Christopher Browning, World War II historian, calls, that's why he calls Moscow Mitch the gravedigger of American democracy. No, you don't have to participate. What if Moscow Mitch tried to destroy the judiciary and found no eager co-conspirators, right? And what if he found nothing but actual patriots? Sort of like what happened when Trump tried to overthrow democracy, and he's still at it, of course. And the Republicans are fixing it, so when Trump calls up the various secretaries of state, he will find a bunch of co-conspirators instead of patriots who say, no thanks, I don't want to be involved in your scam, right? So this is she's an unqualified, no integrity, basic bitch with barely basic experience to be on the bench. She's barely basic experience to be in her own job that they pulled her out of. It must be desperate times over there in Fascistville. You know, they got to find the basicest of bitches. You can't find any qualified bitches? No, they can't. Obviously, because they are scum. Getting qualified takes time. It takes work. They don't have that. They're too lazy. That's what fascism is all about. That's why Trump had to pay people to take his SATs and then take his tests in college. Because it's not about actually acquiring the knowledge. It's about getting the paper and saying, look, I'm somebody. It's like a trophy wife. You don't actually have to fall in love. You don't need the feelings of love. That takes humanity. You just have to have the trappings. So it's the same thing. That's why they want to destroy democracy, because democracy takes work. And they want to steal. They're such great businessmen, right? And they're mostly men. They're so great. They're such great innovators. But they can't seem to make a buck unless they can twist and turn and rig the game. Really, right? Am I wrong? Please, I wish I was wrong. So, let's see, where was I? Yes, 12 years experience in the practice of law. The backgrounder further provides that in evaluating the professional qualifications of a nominee, the standing committee recognizes that substantial courtroom and trial experience as a lawyer or trial judge is important. The nominee was admitted to practice law in Florida on September 27th, 2012. Now, this is in 2020, so it's 2 years ago. So she's practicing for 8 years, and they couldn't find somebody that was practicing for 12. They couldn't find a scummy co-conspirator who was practicing for 12. They had to reach into the depths. Oh, God. It's not like she's some kind of savant either, you know? This ain't no little man Tate over here. She's as basic as it comes. She didn't even read anything. She didn't take any argument or listen to any arguments when she decided to wipe her ass with the CDC, with science, and inflict her manias on the country. Okay. This represents a rather marked departure from the 12-year minimum. You think? This is how democracies die, everyone. I hope I know you understand that. And it does remind me of the last days of the Roman Republic. This is what happened. So all of the laws that they had and the standards they had in place were being thrown out. You had to be certain ages to hold certain positions, and as long as you had a powerful friend or could bribe somebody, then all the standards went out the window. A nominee's limited experience may be offset by the breadth and depth of the nominee's experience over the course of her or his career. Oh, that must drive them crazy, right? They put her or his. Isn't that too PC? Nominees with fewer than 12 years but with substantial trial or courtroom experience and or compensating accomplishments. Accomplishment. The only accomplishment she has is her breath smells like Trump's ass. Okay? In the field of law can be, she probably practiced the field of social media. Social media suck ass. And can be and have been found qualified by the committee. Since her admission to the bar, Ms. Mazel has not tried a case, civil or criminal, as lead or even co-counsel. Of her 4 distinguished federal clerkships, 1 clerkship was in the trial court. That year, plus her 10 months as a reputable at a reputable law firm and approximately 3 years in government practice, translates into 5 years of experience in trial courts, which is well below the 12-year minimum. We have taken into account the nominee's experience in the federal grand jury proceedings, which are non-adversarial and do not take place before a judge. In each instance, those proceedings resulted in the defendant's agreement to a plea of guilty with no trial. So she's got 0 trial experience. We are also aware that as a law school student, the nominee participated as co-counsel with her supervising law professor in 2 one-day state court trials as part of her curriculum. This is such bullshit. In view of the importance of substantial courtroom and trial experience as it relates to professional competence. Competence? That's so liberal. Right? That's too elite. Somebody who's competent might eat arugula. And they might, like Marco Rubio says, get on their Peloton and get off and eat avocado toast. These fucking unbelievable. Where was I? In view of the importance of substantial courtroom and trial experience as it relates to professional competence to serve as a lifetime. She's like 34. Article 3 judge. The standing committee accordingly has concluded, and after a thorough peer review evaluation and careful deliberation, that the nominee presently does not meet the requisite minimum standard of experience necessary to perform the responsibilities required by the high office of a federal trial judge. Well, she's only going to sit in judgment of us. She's only going to affect, the entire country from sea to shining sea now. Who is this bitch? Ms. Mazel has a keen... well, this is where they lose me. Has a very keen intellect. Oh, that's so nice. Does she? She's a grifter. She may have a keen intellect. Maybe she's got a clever social climbing intellect. She certainly has absolutely no integrity. Please, I wish I was proven wrong. I'm trying to find her picture. Ms. Unreal. Judge? Jesus Christ, on a bike. Oh, look, judge who struck down mask mandate is a Lakeland native. These are the, I just put in her name, and these are the headlines I'm getting back. Is she really a Lakeland native? Can you believe it? Lakeland has unqualified basic bitches, too? Just like, who cares? First of all, she should be automatically disqualified because of that stupid bow. That stupid bow tie she's wearing. What is this? Even I know not to wear a big giant bow tie. Ugh. She's like the Madison, Cawthorn, Sarah Palin, Lauren Boebert of judges. Unreal. Ugh. She's 30 friggin' 4. And she's going to sit in a position of authority over us? Over humanity. Over humans. Actual humans. Well, to finish up, Ms. Maisel has a very keen intellect, a strong work ethic, and an impressive resume. She presents as a delightful person. Who cares? How delightful can you be if you are involved in I was going to say co-conspirator, coup. In a co-coup. If you're co to the coup. And has many friends who support her nomination. Well, that's all that matters now. Her integrity and demeanor are not in question. These attributes, well, now they are. These attributes, however, simply do not compensate for the short time she has actually practiced law and her lack of meaningful trial experience. Oh, well, after the American Bar Association began to rate these unqualified co-conspirators as unqualified, the Republicans went after the ABA as a liberal organization. It's absolutely infuriating. I don't know how you guys feel, but I truly wish, I wish, just like I wished the Democrats would grow a spine and start fighting unapologetically. And it seems like some of that is happening. But as you probably saw the video of that, who is that woman now? Her name is escaping me. She's a Michigan. Everybody's being called a groomer, right? You fuckers. The woman who, was apparently called a groomer, Michigan State Senator, and her response went viral, but that's great. We need about 1,000 more of her. But the fact is, the Republicans, all over corporate media, I've yet to hear, and maybe I haven't heard it all, of course, but I've yet to hear any of the corporate media mouthpieces point out the fact that this judge is unqualified and unfit and is a political flunky shoved on the court. It's as if whenever Republicans are successful with their dirty tricks, we all have to forget it. Oh, well, just, that's the way it is. They shoved another unqualified basic bitch onto the court. And another thing I saw this morning, and then I'll try to get Mark in here, which pissed me the hell off. Because the Republicans they're celebrating this from sea to shining sea, and this is why it needs to be reiterated again and again that this judge is unqualified. And I really do wish somebody explains to me how this Florida basic bitch gets to rule for the entire country. I don't understand that. They just merely by writing in her ruling that it applies to the entire country. Well, why don't we just apply whatever the hell we want to apply? Why don't we just say health care is a human right from sea to shining sea, signed me? You know, Medicare for all, signed me. And it applies to everyone. Am I wrong? I don't know. I don't get it. Right? Where is this? Judge who? Here. Like the twisted logic. The judge who tossed the mask mandate misunderstood public health law, legal experts say. She didn't misunderstand it. She fixed the facts around the policy. That's why she didn't hear any arguments either way. She didn't consult any experts or hear any arguments because it's not about that. They're not in positions of authority. She's not a judge to judge. She's there to bring on the fascism. She's full tilt boogie fascism. Full steam ahead. She twists, and now they're saying that the CDC, what ramifications for the CDC is this going to have? Who is she? Who is this person? She's one unqualified flunky. Now, the CDC, all the scientists, the history, the years of expertise has to be thrown out because this bitch says so? I don't understand this. It says, this is from NPR, the Biden administration, here it in a 10 wait, let me start. The 10, where is it? When U.S. Judge Mizell tossed out the federal government's transportation mask mandate on Monday, she relied in part on her interpretation of the word sanitation. Here's where we go. The 10-letter word can be found in the Public Service Health Act that gave the federal government certain powers to respond to public health emergencies. The Biden administration relied on a piece of the Public Health Service Act to defend its COVID-19 mask mandates on airplanes and other forms of mass transit. Specifically, the law says that if the government is trying to prevent the spread of communicable diseases, it can provide for such inspection, fumigation, disinfection, sanitation, pest extermination, destruction of animals or articles found to be so infected or contaminated as to be sources of dangerous infection to human beings, and other measures as in his judgment may be necessary. The administration argued that masks qualified as sanitation under the law. But here we go. But Mizell disagreed, opting for a much narrower definition of the term that would exclude measures like face coverings. Legal experts say her interpretation missed the mark. If one of my students turned this opinion in as their final exam, I don't know if I would agree that they had gotten the analysis correct, said Erin Brown, a law professor at Georgia State University. It reads like someone, here we go, who had decided the case and then tried to dress it up as legal reasoning without actually doing legal reasoning. Of course, that's what they do. Fix the facts around the policy. What counts as sanitation? In her opinion, Mizell says that a common way judges decide the meanings of words in laws is to look up the dictionary definitions that were contemporaneous with the passage of the law. In this instance, that is 1944. Mizell says that sanitation could have been taken to mean either actively cleaning something or measures to keep something clean, but ultimately settles on the former for her definition. Wearing a mask cleans nothing, you bitch. It traps, this is what she writes, at most, it traps virus droplets. Oh, I hate her. Like them all. But it neither sanitizes the person wearing the mask nor sanitizes the conveyances. Oh, you're a real fucking slick bitch, aren't you? Real slippery. Oh my God. Mizell says her reading is bolstered by the fact that the other words listed alongside sanitation in the 1944 law, such as fumigation or pest extermination. Oh, would somebody get rid of these pests? Refer specifically to cleaning something or trying to wipe out a disease. Why don't somebody wipe her mouth? That crap coming out of her mouth. No one wants to breathe your Trump breath, bitch. But Fuse Brown says that while this understanding of sanitation may be true for lay people, it's not how the term is used in public health. Well, isn't that a surprise? Or is it in public health or understood by the CDC? Sanitation was just the old way in public health parlance of taking traditional public health steps to prevent the spread of disease. You dumb Republican who hates America. Fuse Brown, that's the woman who's from Georgia University, points to the widespread mask wearing during the 1918 influenza outbreak, which came roughly 2.5 decades before the passage of the Public Health Service Act. She suggested the opinion will make it harder for the Biden administration to control the spread of COVID-19. The reasoning is poor, but it also has really drastic and dire consequences for public health, which is the part that makes it not just a joke, but it actually makes it really frightening. And then it says, in the NPR article says that the opinion could have lasting effects on the CDC's authority because this one person, I don't understand. This one, not federal judge can dictate policy for the entire country? Mizell's opinion also restricts the CDC's ability to respond to public health emergencies in ways it deems appropriate. And if the opinion is upheld by a federal court of appeals or the U.S. Supreme Court, legal experts warn it could hobble the government's ability to control future outbreaks. Hey, isn't that the point? Republicans want to hobble the government. They want to hobble democracy. And they're almost done. They're almost successful. And before I get Mark here, is one last thing. Hold on, Mark. Hold on. This morning, this really pissed me off. This is in regard to what we're talking about. Where the heck is it? So after we saw everyone, well, not everyone, but morons celebrating, whee, on a plane. Yeah, you're breathing everybody's recycled air. Not that anybody should give a shit, right, about anybody else, because that's the point. Meanwhile, in Ukraine, they're not only pledging their lives, fortunes, and sacred honor to each other, they're living what it means. They're putting e pluribus unum into action for real. These idiots can't even put on a mask for their fellow American. You see, this This guy here, Jonathan Shuttlesworth. He's in the God grifter game. No, a right winger. This pissed me off. Southwest flight. All the tension in airports and airplanes is now gone. No arguing. No communist feel. You freak. You filthy, selfish bastard. No communist feel. What kind of Jesus do you worship? Yeah, because, you can go back to wearing your stupid shirts with eagles and stars on it and calling yourself a patriot, because actual patriotism, no one is ever gonna push you to be an actual patriot who gives a shit about their country and community. No communist feel. Yeah, I said, yeah, that was pretty tense for you GOP fascists when your country called and you had to actually act patriotic rather than wear an ugly red, white, and blue t-shirt. Now you can go back to not caring about your country and community. In other words, keep on doing what you always done. Right? Oh, no communist feel. Now we all got to breathe your stinking Trump breath, which stinks. God. Yeah, God help anyone if anyone ever asks them to sacrifice for their country and community. These people, no one asked them to storm the beaches of Normandy, All we asked is for them to give a shit about other people, their fellow Americans. But that is a bridge too far for them. It truly is. And that's why I should be a better person, but I hope they all get it. Just get it and stay home. Stay in your hovels. Stay in your meth labs. Stay in Mitch McConnell's district, in other words. Leave normal people alone, because we know that the pro-Trump counties have far higher levels of COVID-19 death rates. And they're saying misinformation is to blame, but so is selfishness and stupidity. The only people I feel bad for are the frontline workers, that they don't give a shit about either, of course. The nurses, the doctors, and people who work in hospitals, people who work on the front lines, not the CEOs that whose asses they want to lick, not the billionaires who they want to let jerk off in space and trickle on in their mouths. It's, normal, decent people will also suffer. But I don't, honestly, for them, good. At this point, I don't care. I don't want to breathe their filthy Trump breath. Of course not. I'm going in June. I'm going to Robin Kincaid's Hornin. And I'm going to be taking a plane. I don't want to breathe any. Oh, God, yeah, I'm going to West Virginia. Holy shit. Oh, I have to wear. What am I going to wear? I'm going to wear that liberal shirt, I guess. Therefore, I'm liberal with the brain on it. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Or, what else? I'm going to trigger them. And then I'm gonna wear that shirt, and then I'm going to put on a body cam. And I'm going to say, are you triggered? Oh, are you triggered? All right. I'm sorry. Poor Mark. We got to get Mark in here to help talk me down off the ledge here. Let's see. We all have to do this together as a community. Because first, I got to go to Skype. Let me see. That's not Skype. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. First, I go to Skype. Why isn't Skype getting... Where the hell is Skype? Why is me in the front of Skype? First, I go to Skype. And then... All right, I'm trying to add a call. Let's see. Add participants. Mark. Let us add Mark. Let's see what happens. I don't hear any ringing, but I do hear. Where is Mark? No one's answering. Did you hear the bell ringing? I mean,
I heard a bell.
Where are you, Mark? I don't see you. I hear you.
Let's see. Hang on here. Hang on.
We need your face.
There I am.
We need your face. Okay, there
There's
you
my
are.
face.
Nice. Now, everyone on the chat, do you see Mark and hear Mark? Good. They'll tell us in a couple of minutes. Yeah.
Okay.
There's like a 10-second delay. Wait, hold on. Let me put myself over here. There we go. All right. Nice. Hi, Mark. How you doing?
Tara.
How you been? You look good.
I don't know.
You look
I'm
nice.
doing okay.
I like your headphones.
I'm here in Florida, beside the anti-woke, don't say gay gerrymandering, and now going after Mickey Mouse. Everything's just great here in the incubator of fascism.
It's amazing, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
How did it go off? How did it get like this? How did it go so off the rails? It's unreal.
Yeah.
You know, I know some. Yeah. I know very nice people who live in Florida. I don't get it. I mean, yourself included, of course. But it's really, really frightening, and we should be frightened. So anyway, let me introduce Mark. I know what we call him, Mark C, because I can't pronounce his. What is your last name? You could pronounce it for me.
Ciociola.
Ciociola. That's not bad, right? Ciociola.
CC.
Ciociola. That's a really cool name. And thank you. Mark is a vocational rehabilitation counselor and as a practitioner and an administrator for nearly 30 years. And what else? You've worked with spiritual teacher G.P. Walsh.
Yeah.
And you are a social service practitioner and with a passion for understanding the roots of suffering and ways to alleviate suffering, both for the person and for our communities. Mark has a website, radicalu.com, and please check it out and because this is, I agree.
And I'm also offering a free initial session too now, as a way
nice.
Of, frankly, to drum up business. But but I think it would
that's
be a
good
way to get to know me a little bit. And if people want to use my services, that's great. And there's no strings attached to it at all. So
that's a good idea. That's how you do it. You should do Groupons too. I'm just saying only because I've used many a Groupon in my day. That's all. And I've met people through whatever. I shouldn't even tell you what to do. Why am I telling you what to do? I should do Groupon.
I'm open for advice.
No, anyway. But definitely. So, Mark, how are you anyway? How are you surviving?
I'm doing okay. Yeah, I have to admit, Tara, that I go through my just ask my wife, because yesterday I was on a friggin' rant when it came to this decision. And I think I typed you about it as well.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I feel cleaner and more sanitized when people aren't coughing up their spittle on me. Just saying,
Right.
I don't know what her definition of sanitization is.
Exactly.
But, it's unbelievable. And that's affecting me now personally, because I'm not from Florida. I'm actually from Vermont. So we're going back up there for a little bit of the summer, and now decided, because my wife she's immunocompromised, so we are not taking a chance to go on a plane.
Right.
At this point.
Right.
We have train tickets. I'm going to cancel them. I'm going to have to rent a car now to drive up there
Wow.
and all that stuff. So,
Right.
so yeah, it's just unbelievable. And then I'm heading out to Canada for the rest of the summer. So
Oh,
I'm going to
wow.
get out of the USA for a little while.
You lucky
But
bastard.
anyway.
You lucky No, it's true.
Yeah.
I
mean, people in Canada.
Go ahead,
No, I was
sorry.
going to say people in Canada have just look at us like
I know.
What's the matter with you?
Yeah.
What
It's
is the matter
heartbreaking.
with you?
Mhm.
These are even more conservative type of people that I know there, and they still just shrug
Wow.
their heads and go, "Wow,
Yeah.
wow."
It's selfishness. That's what it is. It
Yeah.
is pathological selfishness. And they just, what this woman did, this judge, so-called judge, that's all she did. It's pathological selfishness. Just not giving a shit about anybody else but yourself. And you can't have a functioning society like that. You can't. You have to, I mean, like Joe Biden initially, he was talking, when everybody was having a freak out on airplanes, and it was and all the videos were going viral, and Angry Joe came out, and he was like, show some respect. That's what we need. We need Angry Joe to go out there and say, this is, show some respect to your fellow countrymen and your community. This is about patriotism. Enough with the selfishness.
Yeah, we have to bring the fight. This has been my newest rant, is that we have to bring the fight right back to them.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, when it comes to all kinds of things, like, what's really dangerous now is that Democrats or people who are more progressive or liberal, or whatever you want to call us, now are labeled as pedophiles.
Oh,
which is
I
an
know.
old trope that started, back in the 60s and 70s. And so I just was listening to the Dino Badala show on Sirius a little while ago, and some guy called up from California and said that he saw a bumper sticker that had a picture of a cartoon of two men, and one guy was shooting the other one, saying, that's I'll treat you like that, you pedophile. That's where the danger now comes in, because this thing is going to bleed into violence. There's no question about it.
Right.
And I think we need, as a society, to begin to call these people out on it. This woman from Michigan, I forgot her name. You mentioned her a little while ago. That's what we have to start doing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That you just call them out every chance you get, and forget about this collegial.
Mm-hmm.
That stuff is out the window.
Yeah.
That stuff is gone.
Yep. That's true. You have to fight fire with these people. And I'm not saying to be, violent or spread lies or anything like they do. You just have to be unapologetic about the truth. And that, like I say all the time, we're on the right side of history, decency, dignity, democracy. You don't have to apologize for that. You don't have to pine for your abuser. It's if they don't want to keep up, you just keep moving forward. But you have to answer these horrible, spurious charges, and without apology. You really have to address it, and not really what's the word? Not rest on the knowing or thinking that the American people are going to know better. They're not. You have to challenge it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what the Democrats have made. And they even did this in Virginia recently, where we're about the critical race theory thing. Well, nobody really believes that.
No, they do.
And it's not that big of a. Yes, it is. We have a cohort in this country of non-information but low information voters. So you have to show them. But what people do like are fighters.
Yep.
People who feel that they're on their side. I mean,
that's it.
Donald Trump. I of course despise the man.
Right.
But one thing, when you talk to a Trumper, one of the things that they say is, "Yeah, but he gets me.
Right.
He speaks my language." And of course, it's all the values are all effed
You're
up.
right. Right.
But nonetheless, that's what people feel. So the Democrats are there with their 30-page white paper saying, "Well, this is the policy."
Yes.
You can talk policy, but you have to do it in a way that's understandable, and that's reachable. That was one of the brilliant things about Bernie Sanders.
Yep.
I lived in Vermont for 30 years, and let me tell you, Vermont has this reputation of being a very liberal place. That is not entirely true. There's a lot of pockets there of grinding poverty.
Yeah.
Believe me. But also people from the backwoods. But when they heard Bernie speak, they said, "This guy says something. This guy speaks to me."
That's
and
right. Yep.
That's why he won the mayor of Burlington back in 1980, was reelected, and then became a congressman and then a senator by overwhelming margins. Year after, 1 year he won by like 70, 30, something like that, because he speaking the truth. That's what the Democrats have needed. And I think they're finally kind of getting the message, but my God, it's been, years.
I know. It almost seems like now, it almost seems a little too late in a way, but I don't know. We'll have to see. Obviously, I'm incredibly concerned about the midterms, and I believe that if they get power, we're really in big trouble. I don't even know how would we get it back, because they're rigging the system. There's no it's not a coincidence or to say that they're going to Hungary to do Fox News shows, and CPAC is going there, and that's what they want here. Let's not think like, oh, this will never happen. The Liz Cheneys she's the minority now. Like, anyone who's going to stand up to them, it really is already, is basically out of the party already. And even them, Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger, they didn't do anything to stand up for democratic, small d democratic values. They voted against, the fixes to what they did with the Voting Rights Act. That's all that. Whatever they called it, the John Lewis bill, whatever the hell. That's all that was. It was fixing what the filthy Republicans did again to democracy. And I don't know, it might be too late, because they're shoving all of their unqualified flunkies everywhere. And then, like we saw with the mask mandate, I don't understand that. Do you know how is this woman, I keep asking, how could she say this applies to the whole country? I don't understand.
Because she's a federal judge, I think, and that's what, that gives her at least temporary jurisdiction over. I think, I'm not a lawyer, so I don't really guess. But of course, I think it's gonna go on appeal. Even the response from Joe Biden was a little disappointing. He said, "Well, people have to please wear a mask, but it's up to you." This is a public health crisis. Either it's a public health crisis or it's not.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's it. It's like, as far, even especially on a plane. That's the thing, because we're breathing each other's air on that friggin' plane. So of all places, should be required on a plane, and it's just, but it's the selfishness and
it is the selfishness. And there was a flight attendant who called one of the shows, I think it was Stephanie Miller's show yesterday, and worked for one of the airlines, and said, "Okay, a couple of things you need to know. They're not sanitizing the airlines. They fly in, they get the passengers off, and they put new passengers on. There's no sanitization." And the other thing is, if you're on the tarmac, this happens. It's happened to me a number of times. You could be on the tarmac for a half hour, 45 minutes, an hour, or whatever. There's no air filtrating. There's no filtrated air.
Shit.
It's just, you're just sitting there. So even with a mask on, even if it's form fitted and everything else, you're still at risk. And if you have a pre-existing condition, it's a risk. And then, of course, there's the whole thing of long COVID. We don't even know what the effects of long COVID are at this point.
Exactly.
So and then we're going to, what's going to happen in 2 weeks. We know there's going to be a spike in cases.
Yep.
The airlines are going to be shutting down. Half of them will be, half the flights will be canceled. And we've learned nothing.
Right.
Nothing.
And it's just, validating the selfishness of these morons who don't give a shit. That's the thing. They just don't care about their country and community. We're almost to 1 million dead. And just like you say, I mean, I have not yet had COVID, knock on whatever the hell. And I don't want to get it because we don't know the long-term ramifications of it. So what? I'm vaccinated. If I get it, I probably won't go into the hospital. Hopefully not, But we don't know I don't know how it's gonna manifest down the road. Or I know people who still don't have the ability to taste, things like that. And who else? Somebody was telling me they have long COVID. I'm trying to remember who it was, but they are, constantly. It's like they have chronic fatigue syndrome, basically, and it's so it affects people differently. And like you're saying, your wife has a pre-existing, immunocompromised. What the is wrong with people? That's why it's not about you. Oh, I feel I'm free. Dinesh D'Souza just tweeted.
Oh, the criminal. He's a convicted criminal.
Exactly. That I'm so. I felt so free walking in the airport without a man. Like, fuck you. Like, nobody wants to breathe your filthy Trump, disgusting spittle. It's you felt free. You selfish prick. You know what I mean? Ugh, you felt free.
I mean, on one level, I can understand because I don't like wearing it. Nobody really likes wearing it.
I don't.
I get it. I'll tell you though that I walk into a store here and I'm walking out. I go, oh yeah, it feels good.
Right.
But I'm helping other people, and I'm also helping myself. What in God's? It's a piece of cloth.
Exactly.
Fabric over your face. I mean, you thought that, and they, comparing this to the Nazi Holocaust.
I know.
And all of this nonsense is just so over the top. And the other thing that really bothers me, and because I live in a community here where there's a few Trumpers hanging around, and to their credit, they're not stupid. At least they've gotten vaccinated. But they'll say now, well, I'm vaccinated, and I know so and so who got the disease.
Yeah.
And, well, okay, but were they on a ventilator in the hospital?
Right.
Or did they live through it at least?
Exactly.
I mean,
Right. It doesn't stop you from getting it. It just stops you from possibly dying. And and that's nobody ever said it stopped you from getting it. That's the other thing. And they twist it too, because that was never the promise. If you get vaccinated, you won't get it. It was that you might get it, but you won't be in the hospital. You won't be on a ventilator. You won't. You have a better chance of surviving. And so that was never the promise. Was like you'll never get it. And that's the other thing. It's like, oh, if you're vaxxed, who cares? It's like, well, like we said, we don't know. You could be carrying it. You might carry it home to somebody who, maybe a child who can't get vaccinated. Maybe somebody who has a pre-existing condition that can't afford to get it. There are all of these considerations, but that's too much for them. And anyway, I don't even know. It feels like
it's Arrested Development of the highest order, really.
Right.
And I try, with anybody that I meet, I try to meet them as a human being first and foremost, and that's, to just see the humanity in them. But something just really went awry, and I don't know when this was in our history. I mean, I think there's always been these folks among us, really, but it just seems like increasingly over time. I mean, it didn't just start with Trump. I mean, when you think back, like Margaret Thatcher and her first cousin Ronald Reagan, both said, "There's no such thing as society. There's no such thing as we are in this together. Right. It's just a series of individuals with individual interests that happen to be next to each other." And therein, that was the thing. That was the beginning, at least in modern history. I'm sure it's before that. You're more of the historian than I am, of what happened, and increasingly with particularly with Republican administrations and some of the Democratic ones bought into some of that nonsense. That somehow we were just all going to, follow our self-interest, and then everything was going to be okay in the end.
Right.
Well, here we are in 2022, and how's that working for us?
It's not, because it's anti-human, and this is why I wish the Democrats would listen to this show and fight unapologetically. Maybe some of them are, but that's what it's about. If Margaret Thatcher says there's no such thing as society, well, fuck off, Margaret, and go to a desert island and leave us alone. Right. You know what I mean? Because they all want the benefits of civilization, but none of the responsibilities. And that's just not how people were made. We're not made to be, nothing. Like, we're just all on our own. There are other organisms that are created like that they don't have the same parts of the brains that we do, that have the oxytocin chemical, where we feel connected and want to be, and people who I mean, the other species don't have, some species don't have that because that's the way they're meant to be. They only come together when they meet or whatever, and then they're like, all right, fuck off. There's no such thing as society, right? That's what they want to turn us into, really, I guess.
I mean, you look at if you want to see the future of the United States, just look at what Russia is, and what those societies are, and that's what we're turning into. And this whole thing with the Tucker Carlson stuff and the ball tanning.
Oh my God, that's right. I almost forgot that. With tanning your balls? What? That is so gay. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with that, but
no, but there's a subtext there.
Yes, I think that there's always is. Yeah, there always is.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that they're fascinated with it, and they go, "Oh boy, I just wish I could."
Exactly. I wish I could have the courage to be, myself. Right. And I mean, I never saw a gayer video than that. And I'm not. I mean, I'm gay, and I have many gay male friends, and I mean, that is the gayest thing I've ever seen. But they don't have, they have no ability to look at themselves. It's incredible. It's amazing, really.
It's a combination of kind of the subtext of homosexuality, but also subtext of toxic masculinity, kind of blending together.
Yes.
This is what real men do.
Right. It's so sick. Right, like a caricature of men. That's just like the caricature of patriotism and everything else, and Jesus, and that's a caricature, because it takes, it takes maturity, like I say, to function in a democracy. You don't want to give children power. You gotta let them mature. But these people they really are infants, and they really need help. I wish they would get the help they need. I wish they would go to radicalu.com and get some help. For
well,
real.
I think there has to be a certain sense of self-awareness first, and I think
that's true.
And for some people, believe it or not, if you've gone through some kind of a crisis of or the dark night of the soul, which I actually did a video on a while ago on my own dark night of the soul, which happens quite often, unfortunately. That kind of you get to this sort of fork in the road, the old Robert Frost poem here, where you really then have to go, which way am I going to go?
Right. That's right.
And then you begin to realize, that my humanity depends upon my well-being depends upon the well-being of others, and we're interdependent. And that and then you can have that conversation. You can begin to have those kinds of conversations.
Right.
I mean, people don't want to look at their childhood at all, or what their families or origin have imposed upon them, and it's like almost like a robotic thing. Like, well, Dad said it, so it must be true, and you live your whole life that way instead of ever trying to begin to question some of that.
Right.
Right. And that's really what. That's how I think the spirituality kind of dovetails with the political, because you
definitely
have to question shit.
You
just do.
Absolutely. And that's part of having a successful life, I think. I mean, you never, like what we talk about as far as, on the show, as far as having that truth and reconciliation about our history as a racist-ass country born in the oppression of the toxic, you talk about masculinity, forget about it, toxic hierarchy, really, and that's why Republicans don't want to talk about it. That's why don't talk about, they're all about freedom, but let's not talk about critical race theory, even though it's a law school class. Let's not talk about let's not say gay, like all of the things that we have to talk about. We have to have a conversation about the good and the bad, and how we get better, really, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, that woman from Michigan yesterday talked about this. Like, none of us are personally responsible for slavery. None of us are personally responsible for those kinds of atrocities in our history, but we're doomed to repeat them. And you want to talk about, this thought just kind of popped into my head here. You want to talk about groomers, so to speak. They're grooming the next generation of bigots by saying, by not ever talking about the stuff that's factual in our history.
Right.
So we'll keep them dumb. We'll keep them, just keep them working, keep them dumb.
Yeah.
And then that'll be passed on to the next next generation.
Yep.
That's what's so nefarious about this. If we survive, I mean, climate change may just get us all.
That's true.
At the same time, because again, stupidity and selfishness, which is a deadly combination.
Right.
But none of this is conservative either. When people when they say, well, Mitch McConnell is a conservative.
Right.
From
yeah.
Stop the conservative label. These people are not conservative. They're anything but conservative.
Exactly. And that's, I mean, it's really true. This is part of why the corporate media is so dangerous, or it's really part of the problem, how it enables that. Because they change the definition. I mean, what is conservative? They want low taxes on the rich and no regulation. No, they're talking about outright fascism. They're talking about the scary, they're talking about repression, I mean, really. And it's not democracy, that's for sure. Not at all. Not a multi-racial democratic republic. I don't understand. You're right. They are being enabled to, what am I trying to say? The definition is the corporate media are helping them transform.
Right. because the corporate media, all they're interested in are clicks and ratings. That's all. That's all they give a shit about. So it's not as if, I mean, I love when I hear the liberal media. That's a whole other.
Please.
I mean, when you talk about like CNN being the liberal media.
Oh, please.
Okay. I mean, I know Fox is on the fascist end of things, but I mean, give me a break. These people, they care about eyeballs. And when you hire Mick Mulvaney to be part of your pundit crew,
I know
something is deeply wrong.
Yeah, there's no consequences. That's the thing. There are no consequences for being a lying fascist anymore. If there ever were, it's like I say, they just get away with it. No one ever challenges them. Well, what happened to all the death panels? Remember how we were assaulted with this is death panels. Well, here we are 10 years into Obamacare. Where are the friggin' death panels? No one ever questions Sarah Palin about it. Why don't they ask her about that? You're the one with the death panels. Where are the damn death panels, bitch? And it goes on and on. No one ever questions them. They are enabled. They're allowed to get away with the lies. And then even this with the friggin' pedophiles. How dare they? The constant talking about grooming and pedophile, like they're the friggin' groomers. They have actual sexual predators. Matt Getz, Jim Jordan, Roy Moore, right? I mean, people.
And that's the thing, to bring it right back to them. So why doesn't a reporter ever ask Jim Jordan about his past with the Ohio State wrestling team?
Exactly.
Why isn't that ever brought up?
Exactly.
So,
they're talking. But they're too busy asking about Hunter Biden's laptop or something.
Jesus,
what the hell is that anyway? And what about Ivanka's trademarks and all of the what about the $2 billion Jared Kushner got for turning the other way when they murdered a journalist, right? It just never stops. But it's like there are different rules for Republicans. They just let them get away with it. It's like they're expected. It's like a child, a baby or a toddler. You bring them to the store. They might have a tantrum. You expect that. It's like that's what's happening, and everybody just like if the adult has a tantrum, then everybody's like, holy shit, right? That's what it feels like. That's why they focus on them. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's all performative. I mean, the thing that the Republicans learned a long, long time ago. I mean, I'm old enough to remember, them talking about the liberal media back in the 70s.
Yeah, I know.
Literally in the 70s.
Oh.
And one of the things that they do really well is they work the refs. If you see the media as sort of the refs, they just work them and they work and they grind it down. And now we're to this place where it's all about access now to these people with supposed power. And my God, I'm sorry, I think a journalist should be pro-democracy.
Oh yeah, exactly.
We can fight over policy stuff. I mean, I'm looking forward to the day, if I ever live to see it, where we get back to, let's fight over, okay, what kind of medical policy should we have for the country? I'm for Medicare for all, but other people have differing opinions. That's a debate worth having.
Yes.
Or tax policy, or how much to tax, all of these things. But we're never going to get there.
No. And that's why. Yeah, that's why they do it. This is divide and conquer. The thing is, that's why the average Joe moron annoys me, because they fall for it all the time. And they fall for it again and again and again. And it's the oldest tricks in the book. But that's why Democrats have to be unapologetic when they say, we're not just, these policies are not just good and nice and fair. They are patriotic imperatives, because we can't have a democracy and this kind of concentrated wealth. What the hell is wrong with saying things like that? Or, as Medicare for all, we don't leave anybody behind. This is a
Right.
patriotic imperative because, we're in this together. We're too divided. We need, we're in this together. What the hell?
FDR gave us the blueprint. Tara.
Exactly.
He gave us the blueprint, and and we've been running away from it ever since. And the other thing, which I think, is that the Democrats, they don't take their base seriously.
Yep.
Part of the base of the Democratic Party is are women and people of color.
Right.
Okay. And we want their votes on election day.
Yep.
But boy, we don't want to talk about all of this. All of this stuff around, take the critical race theory to the fascists and say,
right.
What are you talking about?
Right.
Where is that talk? Give me a specific example of where that's taught in what school, and then we can have a debate.
Yeah, then we'll talk about it. Right. But we're as far as us talking about like this fantasy world you live in. We'd rather talk about stuff that to get things done. That's what we're talking about the woman, the Michigan Democrat. I can't remember her name.
Yeah, she was terrific.
Yeah, but that's part of what she said was like, this isn't going to pave any roads or build any schools or anything, and that's not what it's there for. It's there to fund off of where is it? It's I'm trying to get her name. No, because I keep mentioning
Mallory, I think was
her
name.
Mallory.
I can't remember.
Mallory McMorrow. Yeah, but
okay.
So I'm glad that it went viral. See, that kind of thing usually just gets passed around on Twitter. It never makes it onto the corporate media. But they had this woman on Morning Joe this morning, and so maybe the Democrats will finally start taking a clue, and rather than like Nancy Pelosi pining for Republicans to take back their party and bullshit like that. Give me a break.
Oh God, that's
Give
so lame.
me a friggin' break. Take back your party. Really. And it's this is why the Democrats have been how the Republicans have been able to marginalize Democrats and put them into this elite category, and it's just it's out of control though. It's ridiculous.
Right.
That
I think the thing that may be on our side, and this is why I have a little bit of optimism. I'm not 100% there.
I want to hear it.
I'm looking here in Florida, for example. Ron DeSantis is going against Disney. And I kind of feel that, and not that I'm a big Disney fan, I could give a shit about, all that stuff. But Disney is a big employer here. Mm-hmm. They are very, very popular. It's mom apple pie or whatever you want to frame it.
Yep.
He's going against a behemoth that I think that Ron DeSantis will lose will go before Disney goes.
I hope
in the state.
Oh yeah.
And I think. And there's a lot of people, even here in Florida. It's a schizophrenic place, let me tell you. But there are a lot of progressive people that have moved down here, myself included, that really feel like no, we're gonna, and this overreach. I guess my point is that this overreach may just bite them in the ass in the end.
Right.
Then you think of the tearing down of Roe versus Wade, may happen in June. We may get the ruling in June. That's good. The backlash to that may be just so incredibly strong that people will come out in droves. And I do maintain that there are more of us than there are.
Oh
of them.
yeah. Yeah.
We just have to get out and fucking vote.
It's true. You're fine. You're fine. I know. You're fine. No, that's you're 100%. That's why the Republicans have messed with voting and gerrymandering and redistricting people out of their districts and pouring the African American communities, diluting them into the majority Republican community. It's just really off the chart. they are disgusting. And it has to be, I'm just tired of Democrats enabling them, really, by saying, "Oh, look, we got some Republican votes over here, and and this is Democrats and Republicans together," like as if it's like what you're saying. The Republicans, they go for their base, but the Democrats don't. They very much not really disenfranchised. It's sort of like they demoralize their base, and they go for this mythical middle, this mythical friggin' independent asshole. That's oh yes, if we go a little bit more right. If we do a little bit more, little Republican, just less fascist. I don't even know. It's like enough with this. It doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
No,
you're right. It really doesn't work. And I think this will be the test this year to see whether we can get the Mallory.
I know. I keep saying it too. But
the Mallorys of the world. Because
Mallory McMorrow.
I heard a report today that even the fossil James Carville, who I think he died in 1995.
I know, right?
He just keeps coming back as a zombie. But he even said, "Oh, wow, that's powerful." What you think?
Oh, really?
You think?
I'm surprised.
That's what we've been trying to beat the doors down for 20 years now.
Yeah, well, that's Bernie in a nutshell. But of course, he attacked Bernie relentlessly. So yeah, but now Carville's putting himself in front of the parade, like, "Oh, I had this idea all along to be." I mean, Carl.
Well, if it feeds his ego, but he's on the right side, then okay.
No, that's fine.
I'll take it.
That's fine. I know he's tedious and annoying, but I hear you. 100%. Really, but that's if these old fossils finally get a clue. That'll help. I hope Nancy Pelosi gets a clue. I don't know. I call her office often enough.
Oh, you do?
Well, I mean, I just leave messages that tell her whenever she says, "Please, take back your party." Yeah. I just call. I'm nice and respectful. I say, "Will you please?" You keep asking for Republicans to take back their party. Take them back for what? You're like, Republicans, the American people need a strong Republican Party that's done so much good for America. I say, what have they done? Will you please, if they have done so much good for America, maybe next time you're asking them to take their party back, you can give us one example, at least. Right. I mean, maybe I missed something. But
I kind of see the evolution if we survive this, and I don't know, if we survive this, that hopefully what could happen is that there would be almost three parties in this country.
Right.
There would be the progressive wing of the Democratic Party, which I hopefully will become the majority at some point, because we do have the right values. I'm sorry. We have the right values.
You don't be apologetic. That's fine.
And we're also
look at you apologizing.
No, I want to apologize. No, I'm not going to apologize. No. We have and basically our policies are similar to what they get in France, what they get in Germany. Not exactly second or third world countries, and they're pretty happy there. So there would be that contingent. Then you'd have the sort of disaffected Republicans, corporate Democratic kind of wing, it could be their own party. And then you have the fascists, way
that sounds
there,
good, right?
In right field, and they can just kind of spin around and have their little Fox News jerk, and that's
They can tan their balls, and they can tan their balls with some tiki torches or something, right? Put their tikis against the sun lamp and tan their ball. Yeah, I could see.
They have to be marginalized, and see that we're not at that phase yet where these people have to be just put in their place. They really do.
No, they do. They have to be, and it can't be like, "Oh, take back your party. This is terrible." No. It has to be. They have to be crushed legally and peacefully.
Absolutely.
Crushed without apology, and it's Joe Biden. I loved angry Joe when I saw him. He needs to come back. He
Yeah.
really does.
Michael Moore had a thing about him, about Joe. Joe Biden's kind of fascinating in a way because there's sort of Scranton Joe Biden, and then there's Delaware Joe Biden. And the Delaware Joe Biden is more of the corporate,
Right.
give tax breaks to the corporations and all that. But there's also a piece of him that I every once in a while I see that's like the scrappy guy from Scranton, Pennsylvania,
Right.
who knew what it was like to go without and had that kind of, and I think that we see glimpses of that. I wish I'd see more of it.
Right.
But when he says things like, I'm on the side of the union workers around in the Amazon thing in New York recently, I was thinking, yeah, Joe, more of that. Come on, man.
Exactly. Because they're saying, oh, Joe, is he going too far left? It's not about far left. We're talking about saving democracy. That's why, they never call the Republicans. Are they going too far right? Are they going too fascist? No, they just started recently saying the F word, fascism, recently. I've been saying it for years, and I know you have. And they, and others in the actual liberal media have been saying it. Now it's almost alarming that the corporate media is saying it, because it just goes to show you how far right we've come. But they really are fascists. What do you think this is all about? Marginalizing communities. I mean, even though, like, when that's why the corporate media, well, I talk about it all the time. It just drives me insane, because they will point out how dangerous he is, and then in the next segment they'll get out, let's go to the big board, and they'll talk about these friggin' polls, the Republicans up in the polls, down in the polls, and it's like, just doing that, it almost nullifies the warning you just gave. It's like, oh, they're dangerous, this is an existential crisis, but hey, they're ahead in the polls, up in the polls, down in the polls. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, we're back to the good old days of, and that's what it is. It's
I mean, the media treats us. I'm old. Let me tell you, I'm old. And I remember the very first time I voted was in 1976. I voted for Jimmy Carter. Very proud to say, and I remember, but back then, there was a certain, there were lots of policy difference between a Gerald Ford and a Jimmy Carter at the time. But there was a sense of you could kind of almost buy into the horse race kind of stuff then, because the parties weren't so that far apart. Right. But now, oh my God, it's like. And I think back to, although Nixon did it. I lived through Nixon too. I was very young at the time, but Nixon did enough. I mean, but Nixon actually was like a choir boy, right? Compared to what we have now.
Really, that's the truth. Well, here comes trouble. The producer's
you got the producer there, huh? All right.
The producer's here now. Uh-oh. All right, producer, you just sit there.
Tara Jr.
Tara Jr. Everybody, ladies and gentlemen.
And I just want to say, Tara, that something you just said before was really important, that you've been saying this for years. So you are ahead of the curve, and that's why your voice is needed. That's why the values that you – and I'm not just saying this because I like you and all that, which I do. But it's also because you espouse the values that are part of are just decent. There's a decency and a vision of what this country could be, and all the people on the chat, except for the trolls, but we're doing a good job.
Well, we got them under control.
That. Yeah, that their hearts are in the right place too, and that gives me hope as well.
Right.
Because without people like you, people like Tom Hartman, people like Mike Malloy and Robin Kincaid, I mean, God, you keep me sane. I know.
Well, thank you. Right back at you. That's for sure. So, tell us, Mark, what about you? Let's do some plugs and
Okay.
so your website, radicalu.com.
RadicalU.com. It's not the greatest website in the world. I did it myself, so that tells you something. I'm not exactly a web
Better
genius
than
here.
many websites, so don't sell
Well,
yourself
but anyway,
short.
if folks are interested in chatting with me, and like I said, first session is free, and then we can, and there's no strings attached. I'm not going to force you into any contract or
Right,
anything like
right,
that. I mean,
right.
and because I'm retired now, and so this for me is
That's
something I've
great.
always wanted to do.
That's awesome.
And to have a little fun and to connect with community and also I do say this, and I really do mean it, that together we really do wake up the world, and because we rely on each other, and I think that's a message that resonates hopefully with folks, and I know it resonates with me, and let's just keep plugging along and knowing that we're in this together.
Yeah, definitely, and that's how we will win. It is the truth. That's e pluribus unum has to be the action plan, but it starts with you. A radical you. I don't want to be cheesy, but yes, it really is. When you heal yourself, or you help somebody else, you help yourself.
That's absolutely true.
Absolutely,
and it shows your common human. Excuse me.
It's okay. Common humanity. Yes, exactly.
Your common humanity, really.
Because that's another thing that these right wingers are really, sad. They're just sad. What is the meaning of life? We're in this together. What's the meaning of an economy? We're in this together. What is the meaning of a country? We're in this together. I mean, it's that simple. Why?
Really is that simple.
So anyway. All right. Well, Mark, thank you for talking. It was great.
I had a blast.
Yeah, it was awesome. And everybody on the chat is very happy, and hopefully they'll go to radicalu.com and check out.
If you don't, I'll see you on the chat, and
we'll
have some fun there too.
All right, Mark.
Tara.
I will talk
care.
to you later. All righty.
Bye
Bye. A radical you and a radical me. All right, guys. That went by like that. That is all right, Junior. What a pain in my ass he is. I'm talking about the cat, not Mark. A radical you. I think Tara Jr. needs to go to radicalu.com. What do you think, Junior? The camera's looking very bright. I don't know why, but it's okay. But let me see. Let me fix that. Maybe. All right, you pain in my ass. Look at this cat. Holy Christ. Look at this. He's biting my hand. All right. Thank you. Let me just get back here. Thank you, JD, for your super chat in pounds, you lucky bastard. And thank you, Errol Thomas, for your super chat. Any reason why Republic clowns can't seem to know for a fact that administrations 37, 40, and 45 remind us progressive liberals of the 06 comedy Idiocracy? I don't know. I think that they're in denial. That's what it's about. Oh, Junior, I'm gonna have to do. You know what? You need to go to a radical you bastard. And get. Oh no, you're not coming back here. Look at this shirt. No, it's covered in hair. Yeah, see, look at him going to town on the go. Hey. Go lay down. He doesn't listen to me. Go lay down. He doesn't listen. Tara, go lay down. All right, I got more work to do here. Not sure I can work with cats. I don't know. He might be a lost cause, Mark. I'm going to take you back to North Shore Animal League. How's that? Huh? No, I would never do that. Yes, great conversation. Haiku on the chat. Oh no, he's back. Holy shite. You could sit there. Just don't bite me. Don't bite my hands. Okay, one more thing. What do I want to talk about? Because I'm not going to do a very long show tonight. I'm dropping the call here. Thank you again, Mark C. aradicalu.com. It was awesome. We should do a regular bit. I think that's a good idea. I don't know about you, because I need that your calming presence. You know, and we were discussing having a conversation with Mark C and Mark M from Shaping Progress. Maybe that's another one, as you say, next time. Yes. And okay, one more, another thing I wanted to do. I don't know if you saw this everybody was talking about Mallory, what's her last name? McMorrow. I don't know why it's not sticking in my head. Mallory McMorrow. Okay, everybody's talking about her, but here's how disgusting Republicans are. You might have seen, I think a day before, her video went viral. Another state representative's video went viral. This Ian McKay, Missouri. Actually, is Mallory from Missouri too? Oh, Michigan. Another M. So this Ian McKay guy, he's a normal person. He's a rep, and of course in Missouri, like they're doing all over the country, the disgusting groomers and pedophile enablers known as the Republicans, who are, first of all, you know how sick they are? Everything with a Republican is either a confession or a projection, right? And just an aside, did you see Ted Cruz? Oh, no. That's not nice, Junior. That's my hand. You see this bastard? He's like a Republican with my hand. He just wants pet. It's not good. All right, sit over here. Sit here and shut up. Shut up, producer. All right, producer. We'll put... You be good, producer. Be a good producer. Is that better, producer? You like that? Okay, good. No, I have to have at least one hand. All right. But, so Ted Cruz said that the next thing, Mickey and Pluto are gonna Disney is going to, I don't know, how did he put it? That Mickey Mouse going at it. Critics have mocked Senator Ted Cruz, which should have a question mark, because what is he? Is he a senator? He's more of a podcaster. After he suggested that Disney cartoons might feature Mickey Mouse and Pluto having sex with each other. You see, they're sick. That's why they're all about grooming and pedophiles, and it's all projection with them. Who would think of this crap? They're disgusting. So that's the way it has to be with Democrats. Democrats have to come out and call him disgusting. Not only is he a disgusting traitor, he's a disgusting pedophile, groomer. I mean, what is that even a? I don't know. No. Excuse me. Let me rewind. What do you call it when somebody is into sex with cartoon characters? Does that have a name yet? All right. Stop it. You pain in my ass. Get up there. You stay up there. What a bastard. He's like acting so Republican suddenly. Holy shit, he's coming back. Where is he? I feel like I feel like it's Jaws. Bum bum. I'm gonna need a bigger podcast chair. Bigger desk. Cruz made the remarks during a recording of his podcast, The Verdict with Ted Cruz, as part of his disapproval of Disney. He thinks that this is a normal way to be. So if you think that Mickey Mouse and Pluto are going to go at it, what are you doing, Ted Cruz? I'm sure your daughters watch Disney all the time. That's how disgusting and what a bunch of hypocrites they are. And Mark is right. Mark C. from RadicalU.com. I think that these fascist freaks taking on Disney, it's going to bite them in the ass. Anyway. But I was going to say I couldn't believe it when I heard that, but I'm fooling myself. Of course I believed it. I just can't believe that they keep going lower and lower. That's probably what I can't believe. That this is a legitimate political party. The Democrats are like, take back your party. No, Ted Cruz is a traitor. And he also fantasizes about cartoons having sex. So what? And also, you know what? Besides that, does anybody else remember? Remember when Ted Cruz, on his Twitter page, accidentally liked a porn site? Remember that? He liked a tweet from a porn site. It was up on his Twitter account. But then, of course, because he's a member of the Party of Personal Responsibility, he blamed a staffer. He said it was one of his staffers made an honest mistake. Yeah, an honest mistake, surfing porn on a congressman's so-called, well, not congressman, a so-called senator's Twitter site. So while a staffer was at work on your Twitter page, supposedly, he was watching porn, watching and liking porn. So that obviously he's lying. It was him. He was watching porn. I mean, whatever. I'm just saying. I'm not trying to kink shame him. I don't care. He's just a hypocrite. Ted Cruz reiterated on Wednesday that he was not the person who highlighted an explicit Twitter post that made the senator the target for viral mockery. It was not me, and it is not going to happen again, Cruz said in an interview with CNN's Dana Bash. Remember that? Because, see, look, here's what Ted Cruz does with his time. Let's not put it aside. This is what he's doing on your dime. Okay? This is what he's doing. He's doing podcasts. He's lying about Pluto and Mickey having sex. He's lying. He's stoking insurrection, and he's cruising and surfing porn. Maybe he's cruising. It's unreal. And but he's a Christian. He's a Christian. And that's another thing that Mallory McMorrow pointed out. How the hypocrite who attacked her as a groomer because she's not a freaking bigot hypocrite like she is, like the Republican is, she pointed out what a fake-ass Christian the bitch was and is. Look, you want to get sick? Look at Ted Cruz. Look at his freaking face in this. I think he changed that picture, though. I mean, look at that gross looking off into the distance. Is that him? That's his wistful looking into the future. Follow me and you too can stoke an insurrection for a tax cheating, draft dodging con man with a fake university. Shameless. Oh, it was an honest mistake. So it was an honest mistake. Well, was there any, who was it? Was there any disciplinary actions against a staffer who was surfing porn on your Twitter page while supposedly working for the people? You see? I don't know. I remembered that. I don't know why anybody else didn't bring it up. Oh, bro. Someone was a staff member who accidentally hit the wrong button, the Texas senator told CNN. I don't know about you, but porn never just accidentally pops up on my Twitter feed. It was an honest mistake, he said. Cruz declined to identify the staff member because he doesn't exist. On Tuesday morning, reporters waited outside the Capitol to question him. Oh, frig. Here he comes. Here comes my problem producer. He said a number of people in his office have access to his account. Unreal. So it could have been anybody cruising porn, because no one's actually working for their constituents, just like Madison Cawthorn. That's the other thing I wanted to talk about. How the staffer for Madison Cawthorn, well, an ex-staffer, I guess he's just disgruntled, said that Madison Cawthorn, oh, what a surprise, is a liar who doesn't give a shit about his constituents. Of course he doesn't. In fact, he admitted it right off the get-go when he was elected, so-called, to his position, whatever the hell he is. He said that he is not focusing on legislation. He was building his staff around comms, communications. Because, it's who needs comms? I mean, who needs a staff that deals with constituent services when all you're doing there is padding your own Twitter profile, right? Well, before I get into the last thing, but here, a former Madison Cawthorn staffer calls the congressman a bad person and a habitual liar, and claimed his district office had more liquor bottles than water bottles. Really? Could you imagine if this was a Democrat? A former district staffer for North Carolina Rep. Madison Cawthorn, I just read that. Well, that's what it says. Calls the lawmaker a bad person and a habitual liar. Of course he's a bad person. He beats up trees. How good can you be? What kind of a good person beats the shit out of half-dead trees? Right? Wouldn't you want to be nice to a tree? As far as the candidate himself, I mean, he's just a bad person, said former Cawthorn staffer Lisa Wiggins. Oh, she's probably a disgruntled bitch. Well, I don't know what she was doing working for him, but in a secretly recorded phone call with David Wheeler, the president of the Political Action Committee, called fire Madison Cawthorn. He's a habitual liar, and he's going to say and do anything he can to your face, but behind your back, he's completely opposite. Well, he sounds like a Republican, doesn't he? While the recording was made without Wiggins' knowledge, North Carolina has one-party consent, wiretapping law, blah, blah, blah. The recording was uploaded to the Fire Madison Cawthorn PAC website. During the call, Wiggins said Cawthorn was barely reachable by his constituents and that there was no way you can get a meeting with him unless he's trying to pull some votes. She also noted that she had personally closed many of the congressman's district offices because he didn't have enough caseworkers to man them. I know that because I drove and closed them all, Wiggins said. He didn't care. He doesn't care about his constituents. He does not care. That's her words. She also remarked that Cawthorn's district office had more liquor bottles than water bottles and that the employees were drinking like crazy. People need to know how this man really is, Wiggins told Wheeler. He's still got a lot of people fooled. A representative for Cawthorn did not immediately respond to a request for comment. However, The Hill obtained a brief statement from Cawthorn spokesperson Luke Ball, who called Wiggins' accusations veritably false. Oh, wait, veritably? No. Verifiably false. Or veritably, more accurately. We believe these comments potentially amount to defamation of character. Yeah, okay. Is that like Trump? He's going to sue for libel and slander in 2 weeks. And are exploring options to ensure the congressman's name emerges from these slanderous remarks unscathed. Yeah, sure. I hope one of the corporate media follows up on this, but I'm sure they won't. This'll fall by the wayside. Hey, how about those avenues you're exploring? The defamation of character. How could you defame somebody's character who has no character? Don't you have to have character to defame it? The new the only characters they have are going at it. Like Mickey and Pluto in their mind. The new allegations about Cawthorn come after a rough month for the scumbag. Editorializing. In March, Cawthorn was publicly chastised by his filthy fascist Republican Party leaders for claiming that he witnessed sexual perversion. He's talking about his own mind. He was on the Ted Cruz podcast dreaming about bestiality with cartoon characters. Right? When he said that members of Washington's elite invited him to orgies and are doing cocaine in front of him. Yeah, hey, we're having a little sexual gathering, a sexual get-together. You want to come? What? Are you inviting me to a what? Yeah, we're having a little gathering of sexual parts. You want to come? You know, pee-pee parts. We're going to have pee-pees at a party. Pee-pee party. That's what they should call it. It's a bunch of Republicans. It's the pee-pee party. Just make sure your pee-pee is dressed appropriately. You know what I mean? Tallywhackers. If you got a tallywhacker, that's another thing that fucking asshole said. I can't believe I have to explain it. What a woman is. No tallywhacker. Oh my God. These people are infants. That's what I explained to my nephew when he was 2. Right? In response, Cawthorn has criticized the GOP's leaders for weakening the GOP's platform and blamed the media. Of course, because that's the party of personal responsibility, taking absolutely no responsibility for anything. Uh-oh. What's going on the chat? I want to see something here. What is that? Why are you... Well, I just wanted to see what that was. Bum, bum, ba-da, bum. Why are you putting Z's on everything, Greg? Not having a good time? Ba, 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 da, ba, boop. Okay. Let me see. Thank you, Haiku. Beep, ba, da, ba, da, ba, ba. Ba, ba, da, ba, da. Okay, one last thing. The same comment over and over. Thank you, Haiku. You're snoring? If you're snoring, why don't you take a nap? Go away and take a nap a little bit. Get some rest. Like Junior here, he needs some rest too. All right. One last thing. I wanted to see. It seemed that way. Haiku. Key was stuck. Let me see. Okay. Well, where was I? Here's something I just wanted to point out. I'm not sure if this went as viral as our friend Mallory McMorrow's speech went, but Ian, the reason I'm playing this, hold on a second. I'm sorry, Greg. I'm sorry. If I'm not working fast enough for you. So, Ian, Missouri Rep. Ian McKay delivered an impassioned speech while challenging a bill that would allow schools to restrict transgender athletes' participation in sports. And let me play it. Let me play some of it.
Thank God I made it out, and I think every day of the kids who are still there. I have so enjoyed working with you on so many issues in this building. And you know how I feel about this.
And you
And
probably
this
know
is,
how I feel
just
about
hold on a
this.
minute.
Hold on.
And your brother wanted to tell you that he was gay, didn't he?
He was expressing that to the family, and he thought that that we would hold that against him and not let my children be around him.
Why do you think he thought that?
I don't know. It never would have happened, I'll tell you that.
Oh, yeah, sure.
My kids at that point in their life adored my brother.
Can I tell you, if I were your brother, I would have been afraid to tell you too.
Well, I'm sorry.
I would have been afraid to tell you too because of stuff like this. Because this is what you're focused on. This is the legislation you want to put forward. This is what consumes your time. I would have been afraid to tell you too. I was afraid of people like you growing up, and I grew up in Hickory County, Missouri. I grew up in a school district that would vote tomorrow to put this in place. And for 18 years, I walked around with nice people like you who took me to ball games, who told me how smart I was, and who went to the ballot and voted for crap like this. And I couldn't wait to get out. I couldn't wait to move to a part of our state that would reject this stuff in a minute. I couldn't wait. And thank God I made it. Thank God I made it out, and I think every day of the kids who are still there, who haven't made it out, who haven't escaped from this kind of bigotry. Gentlemen, I'm not afraid of you anymore because you're gonna lose. You may win this today, but you're going to lose.
Absolutely. Okay. powerful and unapologetic, and that's how you do it. But let me just read to you the scumbag's response. The person who presented the bill, Representative Chuck Bays, or sponsored it, Basye. Okay? Here's his response. And I want to vomit. Representative Ian MacKay is a loudmouth crybaby. Can you believe this? These scumbags. He was campaigning on the floor of the Missouri House of Representatives. He is worried about his re-election, and his rhetoric during the debate has nothing, absolutely nothing to do with the amendment. Bullshit. The amendment I offered to House Bill 2140 during the 3-hour debate, the radical Democrats attacked my character and made many slanderous accusations, exclamation, you know what I mean. I was called a Nazi. If you're a Nazi, if you're targeting minority groups with legislation, then you're a freaking Nazi. Okay, but I would like to see these Nazi charges. Even though if it acts like a Nazi and talks like a Nazi and votes like a Nazi, it's a Nazi. They called me a Nazi, a misogynist. Hello? Maybe if you're being called a Nazi and a misogynist, that you maybe need to look at yourself a little. A supporter of sexual assault and abuse, and I was aligned with North Korea, Russia, and Iran! Exclamation point. Well, if it's legislating against the targeted minority group du jour based on nothing but bigotry, then it is you're aligned with North Korea, Russia, and Iran. It didn't this is the kicker. It didn't faze me at all. I went home afterwards, enjoyed a delicious glass of Maker's 47 bourbon, then laid down and slept like a baby! Exclamation point. And that's the person who the Representative MacKay was saying, oh, your brother's gay. Your brother didn't want to tell you he was gay, right? Because he's afraid. He was afraid you would reject him. Your family would reject him, because of garbage, bigoted garbage, like this piece of legislation that you're sponsoring, in spite of the fact that you have a gay brother. And I hope your brother rejects you, for Christ's sake. But, we're all supposed to just be like, oh, nothing, that's just politics. No, it's not. It's our fucking lives. It's our lives. It's all our lives. It's the country. I don't care if you're gay or not. This is the kind of country you want to live in? A bigoted cesspool of Nazis who target minority groups and spread lies. Why? Because you can't fathom living in an actual multiracial democratic republic that works for more than just the white, pasty-faced, pudgy assholes who want to tan their balls. Because you're so inadequate. You're so underwhelming. And you know it. Without your privilege. But you think that we'd all find out how inadequate you are. But we already know. By your actions. The hate. It never stops with these right-wingers. It doesn't matter if they have a family member or it doesn't matter. They're disgusting. And that's why I take it personally myself, not him. I take it personally. If my family members vote Republican, I take it personally. I do. I take it personally. It's like, oh, you love me and you're voting Republican? You're voting for a Nazi party that legislates against my equal citizenship? How dare you? You think that's okay? Oh, it's just politics. I'm fiscal Republican. I like the fiscal. What fiscal? You're a friggin' bigot. That's what you are, and you're a racist. You're not fiscal my ass. Because when you say fiscal, that means you don't like brown people. And you've been duped. You've been duped by the Reaganomics. Yeah. Oh, we don't want to see a big buck. How many of you get all upset when you see a big buck? Big black buck online with food stamps. Oh, what is that? Or that welfare queen rolling up in a limo. Anything to divide this freaking country. And now they're going back. You know, I guess I was naive. Because recently we were talking about their attacks on trans people. And I was like, oh, they don't get the same bang for their buck out of going after gays anymore. So they're going for trans people. And that's true. But they're still recycling it. They gotta go. They're going back to the same bigoted well again and again and again. And they're not letting go of they can legislate and spread hate around gays. Doesn't matter how far we've come. They want to drag us back. That's the truth. And they're going to keep dragging us back until we put on the brakes and stop them. And we crush them legally and peacefully. Without apology. But this is who they are. They're cruel. They're unfit. They're inept. And they have no business being anywhere near the halls of power. It didn't faze you at all to legislate against a minority group du jour? You piece of dirt. You went home afterwards? After listening to your fellow representatives' experience growing up as a gay young man with bigots like you who said such nice things. They took him to ball games. They said, you're so smart. You got a great future. And then they voted for bigoted bills against his very existence. But you went home afterwards, enjoyed a delicious glass of Maker's 47 bourbon, and laid down and slept like a baby. Well, I wouldn't put it past you. Because you are sick. And you want to make this whole country as sick as you. And not just the country, the friggin' world. You're all sick, Republicans. If only you had the courage to get help. Really, the world would be a better place. That's what I've been saying for years. For years, I've been saying, get the help you desperately need and stop inflicting your manias on society. You know, there is a society. Because if there weren't a society, you effers would F off to a desert island and leave us normal people, patriots, alone. To have a society that works for more than just the one pasty percent. That you want to trickle on you. After they tan your balls, you want them to lick your balls and trickle all over your mouth. I mean, it's pathological. And that while you're jerking off to Mickey and Pluto going at it, right? At a sexual party. You want to have a sexual get-together with Madison Cawthorn and Lauren Boebert, with whose husband, and they're both banned from a bowling alley because her husband showed his underwhelming penis to underage girls. He couldn't keep it in his pants. It was so underwhelming. But this is who they are. They're sick. You see, if Democrats do things like that, they are drummed out of the party. But Republicans, they get promoted. They fundraise off of that shit. And then they project. Then they start calling decent people. You know, the very things that they are. The way they went after Ketanji Brown Jackson, right? And then they have the nerve to celebrate this unfit Trump appointee who doesn't even have, she can't even rub 2 dimes together to make her experience. You know what I mean? She's got like 5 years experience. And they went after Ketanji Brown Jackson. Now, Tara Jr. Hey. Stop that. Ray is good. This goes on all day. Look at Junior. He's like, I mean, Ray's only been here a year and a half now. Every time he sees Ray, Ray is good. That's what I have to do all day. Ray is good. And then I pet them and I give them treats. I have to feed them together. It never stops. Oh, my Lord. All right, listen up. Guys, what is going on? Did Greg crack up or something? Greg is cheering for Putin? What's happening, Junior? What's happening, Tara Junior? That mother voice, right? Play Dave on the chat. I hear my mother when I do things like that. I do hear my mother. I hear my own mother's voice because I guess I sound like my mother. Sometimes when I was growing up and I was living at home and the phone would ring, I'd say, hello. And the person on the other end would say, Jeannie? That was my mother's name. I was like, no, it's Tara. Guess we sound the same. You know, I sound. Yes, I know. FYI Nation. Well, it's Thomas. Ray is good. That's what I have to say all day. Ray is good. Ray is good. See? You hear? Ray is good. Ray is good. Ray is good. You beg to differ? Ray is good. Ray. Ray is good. He's good. What can you do? Ray is good. Ray. Come here, honey. Come here, boo-boo. Oh, he sees Junior over here. He's like, I ain't going over there. Ray, you're so good. You are good. I love that cat. I love them all. Even you. No, I love him most of all, but... All right, you're a bastard. Oh, I think he's been watching a lot of Jimmy Dore. You probably have. Greg, come back. Come back to the normal side of life. We miss you, Greg. Where you been? All right, my friend. Listen up. Listen up. Liking Putin. Yeah, I don't like Putin. No, that's a problem. That is a problem. All right, listen up, my friends. Let's see what happens. Yeah, that's why Greg has to come back to Tara community, the Tarabuster community, right? Yes, Ray has no problem with Francis Jr. And Tara Jr. has no problem with Francis Jr. I don't know what it is, why Tara just can't get over Ray. I don't understand why, what it is. All right, my friends, listen up. Greg, come back to the Tarabuster community. And remember. Oh, and I want to thank you, Mark C., for hanging out. And go to radicalu.com and take a free session with Mark. It's tough times. We need each other. We stick together, we win. That is what you will find at radicalu.com. You know, we're on the right side of history. All right. We're on the right side of decency, dignity, and democracy. Guys, I want to thank you. Oh my God, it's almost 11. I have to get up early tomorrow, so I gotta go to bed. Right? I gotta get unconscious. I need unconsciousness. I don't know. I just do. But hopefully, I don't know when I mean, we'll definitely have our Friday night show, but it's already Wednesday. I probably won't be able to do a show tomorrow, but that doesn't mean you can't become a patron at patreon.com/Taradevil or go to aradicalu.com and we will win. Tell your friends about the show and everything else. Also, you can join us on our Discord page. Link in the chat. And also, tomorrow at 9 a.m., check out FYINation.com for The Nosy Liberal with Thomas Reynolds. I think Jim might be there. Maybe I'll be there. Maybe. Because we are on the right side of history. We're on the right side of decency, dignity, and democracy. Thank you so much, everyone. I want to thank all the super chatters, Richard W., Jim, JD, and Errol. We stick together, we win. And Mark C. I will see you. My name is Tara Devil, and yes, this is Tara Jr. Hear him? You hear him? I'll see you guys. I'll see you Friday night.